Welcome to your day off. My name is Courtney. Of sit with my best bud, Tony. What's up, Tony?
What's up, homie?
This is the longest title of any hair show in the country. We're at the Cosmoprof Mid-Atlantic Fashion Focus.
Say it again.
Cosmoprof Mid-Atlantic Fashion Focus.
All right, that's all the time we have, folks.
That's awesome. So, I mean, the best thing about when we do these live events is that we get to talk to pretty rad people live. And
yeah, I'm pretty excited about the next one. I say that a lot every time, so but anyway,
it's okay.
I'm really
it's a genuine excitement, right?
Yeah, it really is, because I get another new friend.
That's right. Whether she likes it or not.
Yeah,
we get to keep her.
I might not be her friend, but she's my friend.
Touche. I like that. That's awesome.
Right.
So today our guest is Sarai Speer, also known as the Platinum Giraffe, and we've actually been talking for a couple months trying to make this happen, and honestly I didn't think it was ever going to happen because we just couldn't get the schedule together, and we definitely knew we wanted to do Sarai live.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You know?
No over Zoom. No.
There's no telephone.
Internet.
Sarai.
Right.
No. There's no Facebook Live or Instagram Live. Sarai.
Live. We want it live.
We want it live. We want it in the person. Awesome. So, should we get in?
Yeah.
Let's get in.
Yeah.
So, Miss Sarai Speer. Is it Spear or Spears with an S?
It is not with an S. It is not Britney Spears. I am Sarai Speer.
Sarai Speer.
Yes.
Miss Sarai Speer.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining us on your day off.
Thank you for having me. This is such an honor to be here with you guys. Again, like you said, face to face. Finally. It's been months in the works.
It really has, right?
Yeah. You guys are a lot prettier in person than I thought you would be. I'm going to be real honest.
Oh, thanks.
we have filter real life.
Yeah.
Filter real life.
Is that what you're saying? We don't photograph very well.
What do they say? A face for radio?
Right.
All right, folks, I'm done. I'm out. Thank you. It's been great.
You are done. You're done. Right.
You guys wanted me here. All right.
Right.
Just thought it would last longer before I kicked you out.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. Sorry to disappoint, folks.
So before we really kick this thing off, where are you from?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Barbecue country.
Yeah, it is. It is. Land of the barbecue. Yeah. Midwest. I'm a Midwest girl. I've been a Midwest girl my whole life. Lived in Kansas City about 20 years. And I've been doing hair 15. Wow, man. Yeah, 15 years. It doesn't feel like it, but 15 years.
Where were you born, Sarai? Were you born in Kansas City?
I was born in a tiny little town called Houston, Missouri. No one has ever heard of it. There's literally 500 people there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I grew up in the sticks. I grew up in the country.
Uh-huh.
The next biggest town we moved to was like 5,000 people.
What?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's 10 times the size or something, right?
You
I think
guys,
that's how many people at my son's school.
No, right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
So little me grew up in a tiny little country town, gravel road and all. Mm-hmm. We had a creek in our backyard. We went fishing for crawfish.
Was it a creek or was
it was
a creek?
It was an actual creek, not a creek.
It was a creek, not a creek. Creek?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And then crawdads?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah. That's a Midwestern thing, right?
It is. It 100% is.
I'm still not sure which word you go with.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Right.
Either way is right.
Yeah, sure, right.
Exactly. Yeah, sure, right.
Yeah, sure, right.
So how did you discover this industry that you are impacting right now? I mean, with your...
Wow, that's a compliment, first of all. So thank you for that. I discovered this industry later in life. I wasn't allowed to color my hair until I was 16. My parents were pretty strict. Mm-hmm. And the day of my 16th birthday, got my driver's license, went to Walmart, bought the brightest ass red I could find, dumped it on my head. And at dinner that night, my dad said, well, I didn't know we invited Ronald McDonald to dinner. And I was like, oh, shit, my dad disapproves. Okay, let's do some more.
Right.
And I started doing crazy stuff with my hair. I would experiment, and I forayed into other careers. I did not like management, things like that. It wasn't me. I don't play by rules. I know that's hard to believe. And I went to beauty school. I actually had the choice of becoming a real estate agent or going to hair school.
I could not see you as a real estate agent.
Not now. Not covering all these tattoos. It's funny, when I went to beauty school, I didn't have a single tattoo. Not a single tattoo.
And you picked them up all, that's all post-hair school?
Yep. Got my first one in beauty school. So at 24, I went to beauty school. And I was scared because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I would love it. The first day I was like, this is it. This is where I need to be. This is it for me.
My people.
Seriously, my people. I have found them. Yeah, it was an awesome journey. I had a great hair school experience. I know a lot of people have had, really terrible ones, and I've heard horror stories, and I feel bad for those people. Mine was amazing.
You know what, though? When I think about that, I'm like, we're basing that on, it's pretty much the first authoritative kind of situation that you're in right out of your parents' house, or maybe you're still in your parents' house. So it's like you're fighting that authoritative, whatever figures from your parents that you're fighting anyways, and now you go into a school and now you think you have to continue to fight that instead of just living in the moment.
That's true. That's deep. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, well,
What a deep guy.
but I mean that's kind of like I hear people talk about, oh, my school sucked this, and and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but you're taking the opinion of a 20-year-old, and not to bash on 20-year-olds. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying, I'm just trying to say that you just don't have enough life experience to actually have
Absolutely. And perspective.
Perspective. That's
perspective.
That's the word I lost.
Yeah, it comes with age.
Exactly.
So was this in Missouri as well?
I went to beauty school in Kansas. They're, neighbors, 2 miles apart, Kansas, Missouri. So, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so lost.
I know. I have no idea what she's saying right now. So nutty.
Yeah.
So, where'd you find the passion? I mean, you're killing Instagram, and you're killing the game, and you're booking up all over the place. Like, when was it that it grabbed you, and you're like, not only am I going to make a difference for Sarai, but I'm going to make a difference for the industry?
It started about 3 years ago. So I always say the first 10 years of my hair career were practice. And I'm proud of my journey, very much so. Mm-hmm. I have been sober for 3 years. And the first 10 years, I was so jacked up. I am surprised I kept a clientele. I was so inconsistent. Drugs, booze, you name it. I was an addict. I mean, hardcore. I actually developed a terrible drinking problem in beauty school. And it got worse and worse. And then I would go through periods of clean or sobriety time until it got to the point where my life became completely unmanageable. I was drinking every single day at work. And I would promise myself every night before I went to bed, you're not going to drink tomorrow. You can do this. You're not going to drink. And by 8:30, when the liquor store opened, I was at the liquor store.
8:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And again, I'm not proud of it. I'm not ashamed to talk about it, but it's not something I'm proud of. I was drunk when I went to work. I got hammered at work. I started blacking out at work. Yeah. It was not good. I was so unhappy with myself. There was a lot of issues. And we all have pasts, right? Mm-hmm. We all have trauma. There's shit I hadn't dealt with. I got to a really bad spot in my head, and I couldn't get out. And so the only way I knew to deal with it was to self-medicate.
So did you find that space in hair? Like you said, you started drinking in hair school. What was it that kind of there's a missing piece for me. When did you find that bad headspace, I guess, in hair school, and you couldn't move past that, or was it just something that got tighter and worse as time went on?
So let's backtrack a little. Mm-hmm. Had an eating disorder when I was 14. Anorexic, bulimic, all of that through high school. Started drinking at 19 to deal with trauma, right? From the space of about 21 to 22, I kind of went into a little bit of recovery, 23-ish.
Then when this is purposeful recovery, or is this just something like, I'm going to take a break?
I just kind of take a break, kind of try to get my shit together.
It wasn't proactive, really? It
no,
was just kind of,
not at all. Not active recovery. And then when I went to beauty school, it was, everyone was skinny. Everyone was pretty. It was that comparison game. I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. And let's have a good time. And so it started out, just innocent, having a drink after school. And then it became more drinks. And then before you know it, I have a drinking problem, and I've lost, 40 pounds in a matter of months. And I'm back to my eating disorder and, with the drinking. And it was a whirlwind of self-hatred. was what it boils down to. And I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't realize what I was doing to myself. I was trying to cope. And that was the only way I knew how, was to self-medicate.
I mean, if your disorder started at 14, you're not even old enough to cope at 14, so it seems like it was just a continued whirlwind of coping and not dealing. Right?
100%.
Yeah, usually when you're that young, you kind of ignore it or pretend that it doesn't exist, right?
Absolutely. And that's how I knew how to deal with it. Was basically shove it down. Shove it down. Don't talk about it. Don't deal with it. We can only shove it down for so long before shit starts to bubble. And then when it starts to bubble, you don't know what to do.
Right.
So I did what I knew to do, drink, and I would, go exercise for 8 hours or, whatever I thought was coping and dealing in the absolute most unhealthy ways. So that is the missing piece. And it definitely got worse in beauty school. And when I graduated, I went straight out of beauty school into a booth rental situation. And it was a crazy.
That's ballsy.
Yeah, it was scary. It was really scary. But at the same time, I had this cockiness to me. As a 25-year-old, I'm like, I'm like real good. I'm pretty damn good, okay? I could do a razor cut. I could do a Kelly Clarkson highlights, because that was in at the time, you guys. That's how old I am, okay? So I went straight into booth rental, and the stylist that I was working for, the owner, she was going through a divorce. She lost her marbles, and 6 months out of beauty school, I ended up buying this salon from her.
What?
I'm not really sure which one of you lost your marbles.
But okay, all of us. We all did. We all did. I had no business owning a salon.
No way.
At all. 25, had no idea what I was doing. Of course, I can do this. I can handle this. And try to work behind the chair. Bad idea. Bad idea.
I mean, did you have a busy book?
It was absolutely insane. I actually built a crazy clientele. I hustled, though. And this was before the time of social media. So I went out and I handed everybody and anybody my card. Line at the supermarket, here, you need your hair done. I went and handed out my card like crazy. I would go out all the time. Again, here we are back to the drinking. I'm going out and I'm working, right? I'm handing out my business cards. I'm trying to get business. I'm partying with these people. And then let me do your hair. Come sit in my chair. So over about 2 years, I built a pretty damn good book. I mean, it was pretty full. Slowly but surely, things started to go south at the salon.
And were you managing a staff at this point, or just managing?
I had a business partner, and neither one of us had any clue what we were doing, and we just thought we'd fake it till we make it, right? So we had booth rental and commission stylists, and my business partner at the time was a cokehead and an addict herself. She was off doing her thing. I was running, and this was even before I had gotten into drugs. I didn't do drugs until I was 27. Yes, I was a late bloomer.
Wow.
Yeah. Drinking had been my life up until that point. So my business partner kind of left me hanging, and I was running the marketing, the advertising. I was doing the books. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was stressed out. Like, I was so stressed out. Meanwhile, running my behind the chair stuff. So my plate was full. So my business partner kind of checked out, and I became very resentful. And she would party all the time. We'd go out together. And one night, 27 years old, never done drugs before, thought it would be a good idea to do some cocaine. Nope. Nope. That was the beginning of the end for me. So
that's 27.
27. So I was an alcoholic before then. And now I'm a full-blown drug addict. That was all it took, one time. And I lost my mind. And it went very quickly. It escalated very quickly. I started dating my drug dealer, because that's a really good idea. I started dating my drug dealer, and we went from cocaine to meth in about 6 months. And that was it. That was the nail in my coffin. From there, I lost my mind.
But then, so
were you still? I'm sorry. Were you still able to keep your business together?
Yeah. I'm a high functioning addict, and I have this uncanny ability to hide shit from people. It's a blessing and a curse. But yeah, I still had clients, which is, I look back and I'm like, how the hell did anybody let me do their hair? And I thought I had my shit together. You know, I wasn't shaky or I wasn't tweaky or I look back and I'm like, no. So how I kept those clients, I have no idea. But I would also burn through clients. So it was like I would get new clients. They would come back once or twice, and then they would leave, and then I would get more new clients. So I never had a consistent client base.
Right. It's constantly revolving.
Yep. Because I kept screwing up. So from 27 to 30, I partied hard. I partied like it was like I was getting paid for it. And alcohol out of control, drugs out of control. I ended up selling my business to my business partner.
The same one?
Yeah. She kind of got her stuff together when I lost my mind.
Was she
How
your drug
funny
dealer?
is that? No, she wasn't. No.
Yeah.
I'm not name dropping.
No, I'm not asking.
I don't know you.
I wasn't asking like that.
You're not getting that info from me.
So from 27 to 30.
27 to 30, I managed to run my life into the ground, lost my business, lost a marriage, got a divorce.
And this is the drug dealer that you married?
No, that's coming.
Oh.
There's so much. There's
yeah,
so
keep going.
much. Okay.
My apologies.
So I lost my business, marriage, lost obviously a shit ton of clients, friends, and it got to the point where I actually got evicted and I got my car repossessed and I was homeless. All in a span of a couple of years.
Wow.
So,
Where's your family at this time?
My parents lived in another state, and I had severely hurt our relationship. And I know it was really hard for them to watch me fall on my face, and they didn't really know how bad it was. I tried to keep it on the down low. I mean, who wants to hear?
You're not going to go to your parents and be like, "Hey, guess what, mom?" And
Right.
dad?"
Right.
I mean, until you're ready for recovery, that's when you have that conversation. But while you're in it, you're not going to.
Absolutely. And I didn't. I didn't want anybody to know how bad things had gotten. If I was lucky, I was sleeping on friends' couches. You know, it was just here and there. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a car. I didn't have shit to my name. I had nothing.
And this is at 30?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine.
Neither can
Wow.
Yeah. I'm 38 now. And I've gone from being homeless, being a junkie, an alcoholic, to I've got 3 years of sobriety now.
That's amazing.
Thank
First
you.
of all, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
But we still have a little bit of a trip to go.
We do.
Right. So, I mean, you talk about that like that was your bottom, but we're still missing a couple of years there. So it took you a couple more years.
Yeah, because, being a homeless junkie isn't clearly my bottom. It'd be a lot of people's bottoms. Slowly but surely, I had some awesome people reach out to me. Hey, come stay with me. Let me help you. Got a job. Kind of half-assed that job at a hair salon. Started partying again, not with the drugs, more with the booze. Tried to get out of that. Got back into drugs.
Out of the alcohol?
I'm kind of flip-flopper. Or all of it, more of it. So I actually, and this is what you were referring to, Corey, I ended up marrying my drug dealer. My current husband, who is clean and sober, 6 years, by the way, just throw that out there. I met
Whoop, whoop.
him. Yes.
Awesome.
Met him through a friend of a friend. He was my drug dealer, and we were friends for a while. And then I started to get away from the drugs, and he helped me with that. And actually, we started dating. We were friends for like a year and a half. Then we started dating, and things got serious quick. And I was like, this dude, like, I got feels for this dude. And I told him, I said, listen, if we're gonna do this, we gotta do it right. Like, you can't be selling shit. I can't be doing shit. Like, we got to get our lives together. And so it was at that moment that I stopped doing drugs and he stopped selling drugs.
So hold on, Miss Sarai.
Mm-hmm.
So your bottom wasn't homeless living in a car. Your bottom was finding love.
We're not even to my bottom yet.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. Let the Sarai saga carry on.
So we dated. We got engaged very quickly. I think it was 3 months. He had been married before. I'd been married before. We knew. And we got married within a year. I went to work. I was working at a booth rental salon, and I wasn't, again, my head just wasn't right. I wasn't doing drugs, but I was still drinking, and it was still an issue. So let's fast forward 4 years. I got to the point where I was miserable. Again, a lot of self-doubt, self-hatred, things that I just hadn't dealt with that were eating away at me, and I just tried to medicate and self-medicate. So the booze was out of control, and this was my bottom here. Drinking every day at the liquor store, 8:30, drunk, blackout drunk, being mean to clients, giving clients shitty haircuts, colors, things that I don't remember. So my amazing boss at the time, she sends me a text message one weekend, and she said, I need you to think about your job. I need you to think about what this career means to you. I need you to think about what your salon family means to you. I knew what she was talking about. Like, my drinking was out of control. So I thought about it. And that was March 5th that she sent me that text message. On March 6th, I got up and I had a meeting with her. And I made up my mind. I'm done. I'm done drinking. And I said to her, and I'd never said it to any other human, I think I have a problem. And I think I need help. I'm an alcoholic. My bottom was me being faced with the possibility of losing my career, losing my job, eventually losing my husband. And I've lost it before, but this was it for me.
Right. You're older now, and, yeah, I'm sitting here like just in awe of you. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? First of all, taking the step saying, I have a problem. Most people, that's the biggest component of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And once you realize that, and once you bring it into the light, you know what I mean? Now you can deal with it.
Absolutely. And it was, in a weird way, it was almost freeing. I just had a feeling I was going to get caught. I wanted to get caught. You know what I mean? It was like, so I could stop living this fucking lie. And when I finally said that, I was just like, oh my God. Okay. All right. Now I feel like I can breathe. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe. And it was scary because I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. So I went to meetings and I threw myself into work. I threw myself into work, and that's a big part of the reason that I'm here. Mm-hmm. Is my sobriety, and hair became my therapy.
That's amazing. I mean, so many times in recovery, we find other things to obsess about.
Yes.
So because the thing with addiction is that not only is there's this chemical hold, but there's also this obsession hold to it, right? And it's what we know hold. So many times we see that, whether it's going to the gym, in recovery, we see it going to the gym or throwing yourself into work and stuff. And I mean, thank God for the industry you threw it into work, man. Right?
Yes. Yeah. I believe they call that transferring addictions.
That's definitely
right.
it. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's what I did. Mm-hmm. But fortunately, it was in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I went from, being an addict and drinking every day to being sober and working a ton. I mean, and when I say I threw myself into work, I decided that when I got sober, like, this is it. Like, this is my career. This is what I love to do. It's time to stop talking about it, and it's time to start being about it. Mm-hmm. And when I made that decision, I started going to classes. And I started taking any education event I could. I mean, the $25 classes, that they offer from different companies, I would take those. I went on different education events. And I put everything I learned into my clients. And at that point, I would take clients. It was cheap. It was free. I would do whatever I could. Hey, I've got this new technique. Let me try it. I just needed to keep my mind busy because I still was struggling with things that I hadn't dealt with. And I had to figure out how to cope, but I couldn't cope with booze.
Right.
So hair became my therapy.
So, I mean, those are good words, right? But like, how did you start to deal with that person known as Sarai?
That's the hard stuff. It's a gradual process. I mean, I still am dealing with.
And you probably will forever, but I mean,
absolutely.
Is it like, are you doing it through meetings? Are you doing it like through therapy? Or, because I mean, hair is great, but hair is not going to deal with that.
That's true. That was to keep my mind busy. And the alone times, it was like, all right, what do I do? So I'd go to meetings. I went to a bunch of meetings. I think they say like 30 and 30 or whatever.
90 and 90, right?
90 and 90, yeah. So I went to meetings. And I had an amazing mentor who was my best friend and was sober as well. And he helped me a lot, like a lot. I would reach out to him like crazy because emotions come up. And when you've numbed out for 20 years and this stuff starts to come up, you're like, what the hell am I doing? I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm feeling. Wait, is that a feeling?
That's a feeling, right?
What is this? So a lot of meetings, a lot of reaching out. And that was hard for me because God damn it, I am an independent woman and I can do this shit on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
so you're
a
like
lie.
The Grinch.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes, 100%. That is me.
The little tiny heartbeat that grew.
That's honestly, that is basically what my recovery has been like. Truly. It was like a little blip and then it was a little more, but it was through therapy and reaching out and going to these meetings and talking about it to my friends at first. And then talking to, my clients who knew I was struggling. And I think that's the biggest piece that has helped me stay sober is that I am so open about it. I am open about my struggle because it helps me stay accountable. And the crazy thing is when I tell my story, people relate to it on so many levels. And I've had so many people reach out to me who are like, hey, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's taking the stigma away by talking about it because our secrets keep us sick.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wish I could say I came up with that. So through talking about it.
Call it the platinum preacher.
Yes. Church is in session.
Church is in session.
Therapy definitely helped. I'm a big proponent. I feel like everybody should go to therapy. Everybody's got issues, right? But also you get somebody to just listen to you and it be a sounding board for you.
That's pretty nice.
I'm into that. I'm
Without
totally
fear of
into
judgment
that.
too, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Just say whatever the hell you want.
That's all right. Okay, so everybody in the recovery needs a no bullshit friend. So when you're bullshitting the world, you have that friend that's like, Sarai, you're bullshitting.
Yeah, I do. And I do. And I'm very grateful. But at the same time, piss off. It's hard. Everybody does need that friend. And it's hard to hear when you're putting on that face. Mm-hmm. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing because that's what everybody expects. But yeah, I do. I've got a couple people like that in my life that will call me on my shit real damn quick.
And you trust them?
Absolutely. It's important to have a network of people that you trust for recovery. You have to have those people that, like you said, are going to call you on your shit. You can call day or night. You can talk to them. They're not going to judge you,
Yeah.
Because recovery is a lot of self-work, but it's also reaching out to people and being vulnerable. And that is really hard for me to be vulnerable. That is one of the biggest challenges I've had because I am so independent. I can do all this on my own. Well, you got yourself into this trouble,
Right,
now you got to get out. But it's creating a network of love and support and reaching out.
Wow. Woo.
Take a breather.
Yeah. That's
I mean, that just, well, first and foremost, thank you for sharing that part of your story. 'Cause
Absolutely.
That's that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, like you said earlier, that there's a lot of people out there struggling. Hopefully, your story can give them the strength to bring it out.
To find their own no bullshit friend.
Absolutely. I'll be your no bullshit friend. I'll call you on your shit.
It's always easier to call somebody else.
Absolutely.
So you said the last 3 years is where you're really finding yourself as what you're doing. But you have impacted this industry in 3 years. I mean,
It's
in
impressive.
a way, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
From all of a sudden, I need to brush up on my skills, or I need these classes, to now you are this social media queen.
Oh, that's very kind. It's funny because I don't see it from that perspective. I see it from my perspective, and I feel like it's been forever. I know it's only been 3 years, but when I made that decision to work my ass off, I'm a goal getter, not a go getter. I'm a goal getter.
Mm-hmm.
So I set goals, and one of my favorite things to do is scratch that goal off, check that off.
Interesting.
Yeah, it gives me so much pleasure. So I set goals for myself, and I set higher goals, and then I set higher goals, and I set higher goals. And I have learned to network with people, and through just being open on social media, it's amazing how many friendships and genuine friendships,
Right.
I've been able to cultivate and create, and having mentors in this industry just by reaching out. So social media, I had no idea what I was doing with social media when I started, by the way. I didn't know what a hashtag was. I started the social media game really late too, because I got sober in 2015. Instagram was already popping, right? I didn't start Instagram until like 2015, 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, what's the hashtag? What's a tag? And I'm taking terrible photos. I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm one of those people. If I don't know, I'm going to learn.
Right.
I'm going to take classes. I'm going to reach out to people. So I feel like it's been an eternity. 3 years has been a long time, but it hasn't. And I think through social media, it's allowed me to really live my truth and be me and be authentic. And that's my message. And that's what I want from everybody, is just to be your goddamn self. Good, bad, it doesn't matter. Just be you.
Feeding your face with Skittles, no matter what happens.
You damn right. And people I get so much crap for the stuff I eat on Instagram.
And the way you eat it.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care, because that's me.
This is Sarai.
That's right.
Sarai and the Real. That's awesome, dude. So, I mean, obviously your skill was on point even before you started in 2015. Or, I mean, I'm sure it's gotten better over the last 3 years, but
It has.
I mean, you've anybody that follows you, every weekend you're like in a different state, in a different place, in a different whatevs.
I am.
So the word's getting out.
Yeah.
Word's getting out, Miss Sarai.
Yay, good. That's what I want. That's my goal, honestly. I love teaching. I love teaching so much. And I had no idea. Again, 3 years ago, if you'd have told me I'd be here doing this now, I'd have told you you're fucking crazy. Absolutely batshit crazy. But again, when I set my mind to do something, I do it. I make goals, I make game plans, I make action plans, and I check off those goals. And I have really lofty goals, very lofty. So I've worked my ass off to get where I am. Social media is a full-time job, traveling the country. It's exhausting. I mean,
but you've been featured and mentioned in magazines and all.
Yeah.
That's quick. I mean, I don't know what to say, but yeah, because when I search your name, I see words like ghosted or Whoville Christmas tree technique, which we'll get into a little bit, but because it fits the whole Grinch.
It does. It does.
Personality.
Very much so. Yeah, I don't think I ever set out to be famous, or I don't know. I just feel like through pushing myself and setting these goals, and then, a goal one of my very first goals was to get reposted by just a page on Instagram.
Any page.
I just wanted to be reposted. So then that eventually became American Salon, and then that became Modern Salon, and then that became the next thing. And then I was like, I want to see my work in Allure. And then I wanted to see my work, here and there. And so my goals just kept getting bigger, and I kept pushing myself. And I have such a hunger and a drive and a passion for this industry that you put all of those things together, and I feel like I'm just kind of a machine.
Robot Sarai.
Yeah. Are you real?
Beast mode. I am not. Beast mode. Engage.
So how did you? You said you wanted to get into allure. Like how did? Being that that's not an industry like trade. Like how did you? How did you manifest that?
I love that word, and I feel like that's what a lot of this is manifesting, talking about it, but not only talking about it, because I don't believe in luck. I think you make your own luck. And I think it's a lot of working your ass off, and I think it's saying yes to opportunities and also making your own opportunities. So
hold on. Literally, your knuckles say luck.
Lady Luck. Uh-huh. I am my own Lady Luck.
Got it. You can own it.
Right.
The allure thing, I made a goal and I wrote it out. I wanted to be published in a non-industry publication. That was the specifics of it. And Allure was the very first one to do it. And I will never forget. No, I'm sorry. It was not Allure. It was Harper's Bazaar was the very first one. And I got the notification, was with a client, dropped to my knees and started crying.
No way.
I did.
Really?
Like full blown, like, holy shit. Like Harper's Bazaar. I've seen that at the airport. Everybody knows. I mean, it's a fashion magazine. And I was like, oh my God. I cannot believe this is happening. And that was my first big one. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is such a cool feeling. And I rode that cloud, that high.
Right.
And then it becomes, here we go, back to the addiction. It almost becomes like an addiction where you're kind of chasing that next, like, all right, cool. So let's push another boundary. All right. So they picked me up. Like, what else can I do? Where can I take this, for my career?
It's probably the same endorphin rush, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you're feeling.
Yeah.
We're just doing it in hopefully a healthier way.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do a couple push-ups or do some squats.
Jump out of a
some lunges over
plane, zip
there.
line.
Jump
But,
out of a plane. I'm going to do that.
Jump out of a plane?
Yeah.
Is that next?
That's next. Yeah. I've always wanted to go skydiving. Yeah.
I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah,
You better eat Skittles on the way down.
Oh, yeah. And carry a giraffe.
Right.
I'll probably ride a giraffe down.
That'd be awesome.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that, man. That'll be so cool. Is he gonna have a little parachute, a little giraffe parachute?
No, because then he'll float up.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
No giraffe parachute. Ixnay on that.
No giraffe parachute. That's cool. So you said that like a lot of people have been, like reaching out to you. I mean, not just about your addictions or about your recovery story, but just like what kind of reach outs are you getting, on like social media, just about like, forget who you are or what you've done but what you're doing. What's that been like?
I get all kinds of things. You inspire me. I want to be like you. Your work is amazing. Mm-hmm. And it for me, it's weird and not bad. It's just weird because I know the addict. I know all the shit I've done in my life. I know all the nitty gritty. And so when people are like, you inspire me and I'm like, wow, that's cool. That's really cool. But it also makes me kind of feel like, ugh.
Can I tell you a story? I think we shared this on a podcast before, but I quit drinking when I was 29.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a lot of years not to be the party guy or not to to figure out who that guy was, and like, could I be fun? Could I laugh and stuff like that without being the party guy? And it actually took me 15 years before somebody asked me to officiate their wedding. And that to me was like, okay, I've made it,
mm-hmm.
right? Because now, like, I'm responsible for someone's greatest day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was kind of like my moment in that, and I cried when they asked me, and I cried after I did it, because that was my graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I kind of feel like, that was worth everything.
Yeah.
My mom's forever thankful, by the way.
But anyways, it was a really, really cool kind of experience, and I hope if you haven't found that, you do find that. I think that, 3 years in, and you've got people that you're inspiring and that trust what you're doing, and that's pretty empowering.
It absolutely is. And I just think because I live my truth, I live the good and the bad, I put it out there, I stay accountable. I mean, I think that honestly, social media has had a big impact on that. And just being able to share my story, get feedback. I mean, it's amazing to me that people take time out of their day to message me or, tell me I inspire them. That's amazing. That's what I want. Like, I want to make a difference in people's lives.
And you can see it when she's telling the story. A lot of times, like, people are afraid because they're afraid of being judged.
Absolutely.
You're telling it, and it's quite the opposite. You're receiving so much love.
Yeah.
And, you are truly an inspiration.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? So, you can see I'm like, man, you definitely touched my heart.
Well,
just hearing your story.
I think that the fear of judgment went away from me. I was a homeless junkie. I mean, like, I've lived in shit. I've seen some shit. So for me, coming out and saying, like, I have a problem, to me, it wasn't shameful. And so I feel like because I have been through so much shit in my life, if you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. And that's the bottom line. Because
But is that true words?
I'm a good person. You know what? Honestly, 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that. Now I can sit here and look you in the face and say...
Don't you say it to me, because I thought we were
I'm going to look at the wall, and I'm going to say, if you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. Because I don't care. I mean, that's your stuff. What I've learned is that's your stuff. If there's something about me you don't like, maybe it resonates with your soul, or maybe there's something in that. But I know that I live my life right. I have amazing support people in my life. I'm a good human. I go above and beyond. And I'm pretty fucking awesome. And it's taken me 38 years to be able to look at myself in that mirror and say, you know what? I love you. You're awesome. So your opinion of me, that's yours. You damn right. I don't give a fuck.
We
love that. I know. I just want to hug her now, but the table's too damn big.
We can hug after.
We can hug it out. We can hug it out. While you were saying that, what I kept thinking was, like, for the first time, Sarai's like, I'm important enough not to give a fuck. Sarai's more important than your shit.
Yeah.
And I dig that, man. I respect that like you don't know.
Oh, thank you.
And even with that, there'll be times that you'll struggle with that. There'll be times where, it's not so smooth, right? It's not a decision.
Absolutely.
It's a trip.
Well, and that's the thing. It is day to day. And, just because I'm in recovery doesn't mean every day's fucking sunshine and rainbows. I struggle just like the rest of us. Right. I have days where I'm like, fuck, should I be doing this? Am I even good at hair? I mean, I'm human. I have feelings, and it's not always 1,000% confidence. I'm human. So you caught me on a good day today, though.
All right. So
you just left the stage. I mean, if you're not feeling like pumped up now,
right?
So you said you'd like to set goals for yourself.
Yes.
What are your future goals that you're shooting for?
That's a great question.
So, my big one is to teach international. I would love that. And one of my really big goals is my own product line.
Sweet.
And I know that's huge and it's lofty, and I know money-wise, eventually I would like to have a part in something like that. I also really, really want to be a motivational speaker. Really badly.
We've got the story. I think it's just a matter of like molding that a little bit and seeing what the touch points are and how you get people wanting to run through a wall.
Yeah.
Sit with Gino.
I know.
Oh, Gino's amazing. And Ben Mullen.
Oh,
yeah.
He's genius.
Yeah, he's emceeing our event next weekend.
Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
So excited.
She just did Ben's class.
Oh, did you?
Changed my life, 100%. Absolutely.
The
His
Ben
class.
Mullen Project, y'all.
You know what? He has a gift. And I told him this. I said, you have a gift, and I am so grateful that you chose to share it with us. He is making such an impact on people's lives. And it's like, it's so on the down low, I feel like. Like, everybody needs to know about Ben Mullen Project.
Yeah.
His class is amazing.
We say the same thing all the time. Why every salon owner or every, anybody who wants to do stage work, they need to call that guy.
100%.
We pimp him all the time. Every time we talk to somebody that either
Yeah.
has like an established salon or like a salon chain or something, we're like, why is Ben not here? You've got to get Ben Mullen. This guy.
100%.
This guy.
He's amazing. He's awesome. And I told him that was one of my goals as well, is to be, I'd love to be on stage inspiring people and motivating. And so we'll see what happens with that.
What happens. It's going to happen for you. Maybe 3 years a little soon, but
I know.
It's going to
get a little
happen,
more
bro.
time under my belt. Thank you.
Yeah, we
It's
talk about
gonna
doing
happen.
a TED Talk type style event.
Oh, that's also on my goal list. Just FYI.
She would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, what we want to do is this is a lofty goal that we have, like maybe a 5 or 6 year plan, but in this kind of environment, in like a hair show kind of environment, we want to set a room apart, even if it was this big, and we just kind of want to share the stories, kind of what we do in the podcast, but we don't want to do it in podcast style. We wanted to do like, Tony and I leave the room and Sarai like owns the room.
That's amazing.
We want to do
become
that
the
with
motivational speaker that you want to become in front of everybody in a TED Talk kind of way.
Yeah, and I think just share your story. I mean,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kismet that we're all sitting around talking about this right now. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
That's
meant to be.
awesome.
I think so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, I hope people that listen to the podcast, if they would be interested in something like that, maybe they should DM us and just be like, down, I'm down.
Totally.
Actually, you have to DM both us and Sarai. Do like
snap.
a group deny.
Yes.
Do a group so we know. So we know where it's coming from. That's pretty cool, man. Dude, I'm kind of speechless.
you.
I mean, she shared so much, and like,
I can't wait to see the next several years to see how all this kind of like, you know what I mean? Like our goals, your goals, and then how it all intertwines. I have a feeling in the future it's going to be, if we can make that happen.
Yeah, I feel like it's crazy because I feel like it's just the beginning. I mean, of the big stuff. Like, worked my ass off, and behind the scenes, and I know you guys feel this way too, is all of that little stuff that seems like it takes forever. And then it's like you get a break, or you get this opportunity, and then before you know it, these bigger opportunities come along. And I feel like I'm at that point where these bigger opportunities keep coming in. And I'm on stage this year. It was a huge goal of mine for 2019, actually, was to be on main stage. And here we are. I'm on main stage. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
That's pretty crazy.
It's pretty freaking awesome.
And again, I mean, 3 years into recovery, it's amazing because, that's justification.
Yeah.
Seems like everything that you speak kind of comes to fruition. So speak something positive about us.
About us, yeah. Like, hopefully I live forever.
So everything that you think, I want to do this, boom, it happens. I want to do this, boom, it
You guys
happens.
are going to win awards. What are they? Grammys, Tonys? What are we winning?
I don't know.
Okay, we're gonna win podcast awards.
Oh, the hairdressing podcast awards.
Right,
So
yeah.
I don't know about it. Hey, PBA. Hey, magazines or something. Come on. Give the podcast world some love. Or at least us.
Yeah, exactly. Just you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we love our podcast world, man. We love it. Because Olivia just started one. We love her.
Yep.
And Gordon and Eric. And, we could name drop a bunch. But, man, Elizabeth Faye, yeah, she has one now, too. So it's really cool, man. It's exciting, actually. The podcast world for what's happening in hairdressing is exciting. And I'm glad that we're able to share thoughts and feelings and share stories.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's kind of our space here, is that we get to share you guys' stories. And there's a lot of podcasts out there for a lot of different things. And actually, you got Tina sitting next to you, and she was just on Nina's podcast.
Aw,
So
we love Nina.
We do love Nina.
Nina's so amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that this has become a thing. Like, podcasts, we've all heard about it, but it's in the hairstyling industry, like, it's a thing now. That's so cool.
Isn't that awesome?
I struggled with it because I wanted to start a podcast, but I was like, how are you going to teach technique, right? Because because that's what we've had as far as education in the industry. So like, how are we going to share technique audibly? Like, how do you do that? And then, once again, I'm not going to tell the story because everyone's heard it a million times. But, once I decided what our angle was going to be, that was it. Okay, we double down on like, let's share the stories of the people in the industry because, we're an interesting bunch.
That we are. We're a crazy bunch of people, and everybody's got a story. And it's cool because you guys are giving us the opportunity to share that, to share the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, business and, the ins and outs of it. And I mean, you guys have talked to so many amazing people, and everybody's got such a cool story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we can all, as hairstylists, relate to it. So what you guys are doing is awesome, and you guys are gonna do big things. I know it. I mean, there's no way that you can't, because you guys are so passionate about this, and you live, eat, breathe, sleep this. Like, you guys are gonna do some big shit.
Well, Sarai, that's awesome.
For real.
It's gonna come.
It's gonna come out.
She said it. She said
See,
it.
now I'm starting to question whether it's genuine or not, or whether you set her up to be genuine.
No.
Swear to God, no, not at all.
What?
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Sarai,
you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thousand
sharing your
thank
story.
you.
Exactly.
Thank you guys for having me. This was amazing.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
you.
Yeah. Keep it
I'm
up.
gonna keep it up. I'm gonna kick it into high gear now.
That's awesome.
Be extra fucking amazing.
Extra. There's a
Yes.
shirt. There's a shirt.
EFA, baby. EFA.
That's right. That's so cool. Well, Miss Sarai, I think it's that time.
Yes.
Miss Sarai Speer, the Platinum Giraffe. Thank you very, very much for joining us on your day out.
Please do me you.
Hey, so there it is. Hey, this is a message that we've been trying to bring, I don't know, for the last couple months, actually since we started the podcast. Hey, so if you like the podcast or if you find that it's useful, please leave us a review, a 5-star review on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review.
But if you don't like it, forget about it.
Yeah, totally forget about this message. We also want to thank Sarah and Blaine from Pretty Gritty. Sarah and Blaine, they are a band out of Portland, Oregon, and we just want to thank them very much for allowing us to use their song, Pleased to Meet You, on our podcast. That's cool. I think you can find their music on iTunes.
Peace and hair grease.